So today I'm back again, and you have already read it. I went first for the first time ever at my locals, undefeated, didn't lose any round with Earth Machines. My apologies for the camera. It's always my camera. It's just bad. Okay, so sorry, and you have to deal with it. But it is like a 53 pile deck or something like that. Like actually pretty much. It's for just around a lot. Okay. So just to match up. Sadly, the first round match I got the bye, but it is what it is, right? And after that, I just beat everyone 2-0. Second matchup was against Branded. Game 1, he wanted to go first. I broke his board. Did not OTK him, but I stopped everything else. Game 2, he let me go first, and I did not bury statue lock him. I just built a very strong board, and he just couldn't get through it. Match 3 was against Pearly. I went first because he was going second. He didn't saw Dark Ruler, and I barrier statue locked him. Game 2, he went first. And I had Contact C, and he had no out for Contact C, and I just grinded out the game and then OTK'd. Match 4 was against going second Sprite. He also didn't saw Dark Ruler, and I barrier statue locked him, which he defeated the barrier statue lock, but he didn't have enough resources to go even further, and I OTK'd from there on. Round 2 against Sprite going second. We played the Ding Compound list. He went first. He just totally bricked. He had nothing, like 1 angler, 4 spells, no starters. It is what it is, right? So sadly, that last game was pretty sad. I just OTK because you make rank 10 trains that does 6,000 damage. So let's get into the deck profile. Sorry for the 2-minute wait. Just let's get into it. So first up, it's MACHINA. How was it? METALCRUNCHER. This card I played at 3. You can normal summon it, and if on the summon of this card, you can search. You can show your opponent 3 Earth Machine monsters. They pick 1 random one, and it gets added back to your hand. So this is the searcher for the INFINITRACK card. It's just a crazy card. You can also add a lot of rank 10 trains that you want. And that's it. If you normal summon this card, its attack gets half, and it's also once per turn. So it's a very great starter with all the other engines that we have. Next up is we're still with the Machinas. Machina Fortress. This card is like very crazy. This card, if you search it with the spell card, you can send it to special summon itself. It's not once per turn. It's protection. It can be a destruction of a monster. It's pretty strong. Pretty strong card. I played 1 Machina Citadel. This card is very strong. Never really summoned it. I mostly use it to summon it back and then overlay try to make the FTK work. But sadly, I couldn't pull the FTK off. But it's very cool if you can pull it off. And it's also a very strong card that if an Earth Machine monster gets destroyed, you just special summon this card back, and you have a Raigeki on your opponent's turn or on your own turn. Next up is MACHINA RUINFORCE. My apologies. This card is crazy. You can read it on your right. This card does a lot. It's a negation in the battle phase. It halves your opponent's life points. It's a special summon from the graveyard, and that's not even once per turn. It's like, with this card makes the OTK work. If you can search this card and Machina Citadel, you have like FTK so very easy. Then for the INFINITRACK cards, I played 3 INFINITRACK Bulldozer. Normally you play the normal summon Harvester, but Harvester is very expensive, and I just don't want to spend that money on that card. My apologies, but that's it. And I had these cards because of a person I bought it from back in the day. This card, you can tribute summon a machine monster, special summon this card, then you can special summon an INFINITRACK monster in defense position, but its effect is negated, and this card is of course once per turn. This card also locks you into Earth Machine, so normally you just want to summon your barrier statue before you summon this card, unless you can normal summon barrier statue because it's in your hand. This card starts your place a lot. Next INFINITRACK is the one that you summon the most. It's the Tunneler. The Tunneler is when it's in the graveyard you can banish it and shuffle back 5 Earth Machine monsters, then draw 2 cards. This is the unbrick of the bricks most of the time. If you have like an hand, you can just add way more cards with this in your hand. I need to look, the INFINITRACK Anchor Drill. I played this card for the first time, I bought him. It's a cool normal summon, but you don't, I just don't feel you need this card. It's just a anti-brick card. The second effect of this card is pretty funny, but I think it's way better in a full INFINITRACK deck or something like that. Where you can just make a lot of strong cards. I think then this card is way better. But it's still an okay card. With the engine that you have here, you can special summon him, activate his effect, special summon another monster, link away for an INFINITRACK monster or Ancient Gear Ballista, or just go crazy. This card is pretty sick. And the last INFINITRACK card is INFINITRACK Trencher. This card is not that special. It just gives you another body if you need that extra body for link climbing or just to get rid of some cards, right? I almost tributed my match 4. He Ibli locked me, yeah, and I could get over it because I had the Wind Channeler. But I could just tribute someone over it. It was so funny. Then for the Vernisylph cards, we play 3 Vernisylph, the Flourishing Field. This card is like bread and butter. Of course, every Vernisylph card is the bread and butter. You can discard this card and a monster or a Vernisylph card you control. Then special summon an Earth monster from the graveyard. Oh no! First, you can search with this card. You can search a Vernisylph card. And then you can special summon a monster from the graveyard. So if you summon back Anchor Drill, you can activate Anchor Drill's effect to special summon a Earth Machine monster from the graveyard. It's like that is the way how everything goes. Next up is the Vernisylph of the Misting Seedling. This card says they all say the same thing: discard, and a monster or a Vernisylph card. This card searches for an Earth Fairy monster, so this card can search this card, or this card can search this card, and then you can discard, special summon a monster, use monster effects, and go further. It's like this card is actually crazy. Keep in mind that if you use their effects, you can only use Earth monster effects for the rest of the turn, which is not that bad with Earth machines. Next up is Vernisylph, the Thawing Mountain. The Vernisylph, the Thawing Mountain. I wanted to play this card at 3. I think 3 is still a better ratio, because I want to max out as many of the good ones as possible, which this one is very freaking good. Because this card discards a card and itself, then you can draw a card and special summon. And the draw, I have drawn into an Ash, into a Ghost Ball, and into 2 Imperms. Like, this card is actually crazy. I like this card. I think 2 is the best ratio, but I really want this card. Next up is the Vernisylph of the Awakening Forest. This card sends Berry Statue, and then you have the Berry Statue look. This card is actually insane. It can also send more cards to the graveyard if you already have it in hand, or you cannot summon it anymore, or maybe you decided it out. Because it sends 1 monster and this card, then you can send 1 card from the deck to the graveyard, Foolish Burial. Then you can special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard, except the monster you Foolish Burial. So, yeah, that's something. Next up is Vernisylph of the Flowering Fields. This card is not a card most people play, but I'm very happy that I put this card into play. This card says, discard a card and a monster, and then you can add 1 Earth monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So this way you can have some more recursion if your opponent hand traps you or something happens in the game. This can only be Ghost Belt and not Ash, so that's also something that you can keep in mind. I only play this card at 1 because you never want to see more than 1 of this card. You barely use this one. And the last Vernisylph card actually is Vera, the Vernisylph Colors. This card was not useful. Most of the time I sided it out, but it's still a card that can be very this card can be very good, very easy, very strong, because it has a negation. It has a special summon of a earth monster from the graveyard in your opponent's turn, so you can special summon the earth barrier statue if you have this card in your hand and you do not want to summon the earth barrier statue because maybe you have some reasons for that. So do I have missed something? Oh, and it's a going second. It's so funny. On your turn, it's a change of heart, but you keep the monster. It's like actually that crazy. And the monster becomes a Furnace of cards, so maybe you can do some extra things with it, because these cards, the Furnace of cards, have also some second effects, because this card can make a card attack twice. This card can Furnace of, sorry, only Furnace of, right? This card can target the Furnace of card, it doubles its attack, and this card makes it so that every Furnace of cannot be destroyed by cards. So they also do something else when they're on the field. So it's very cool. Then we go into some cards that you can combo with. So these are most of the times the bricks, like Ancient Gearbox. You can special summon Ancient Gear Ballista, Search Box, Search, Anchor Drill, and then you have more cards in your hand that you can discard for furnace cells if needed to be. Earth Barrier Statue. This card locks your opponent or both players into only special summoning Earth Machine Monsters or Earth Monsters. This card is very easy summonable if you have at least 2 Furnace of cards, but one has to be the Foolish Burial or the Searcher, and every other Furnace that you control. Because the Searcher then searches for the Foolish this one, then for instance you activate this one, add this one back, special summon it. That's how you normally lock your opponent. I played one Flying Pegasus Railroad. I normally only play this card at 3, but because this card is searchable, I don't think I want to see it at 3 at all. None of it. Never. Because when this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one machine monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and then you can... that's it. In defense, its effects of course negated. You can target the machine monster you control, and then you can choose that this card becomes the level of the card you targeted, or the targeted card becomes the level of this card. Which, with this card, I made it. So I made my cards 4. I summoned Heavy Armored Train Iron Wall, Detach, target my Super Dragonaut Liebe. It could attack directly for 2k, and it, of course I did 2000 damage. So that's like pretty funny in my opinion. And that's how I won that game against Sprite, because he had starter set, so I knew that I could just attack directly even though he started it. So it's cool. Next up, this is, okay people, this is like, these cards are actually crazy. Just listen to me, okay? It's yellow gadget, it is the green gadget, and it is the red gadget. These cards are actually just insane. For real, I'm just no capping bro. These are so funny. When you activate a Furnace of cards, sending one of these cards, you can special summon them, activate for instance red effect, add yellow, and then you can search a Furnace of cards, use that other Furnace of cards, discard yellow, special summon yellow, search green, overlay, detach, search, and it's just free real estate. These cards are my favorite in this deck. They are so cool that they can be used for this. Thank you very much, gadgets. I played in this list one FENRIR, never saw it, never wanted to see it, never played it, never wanted to play it. It's just very hard with the other machine cards that we have in our hands or in our deck. It is an Earth, I guess, so it's an Floodgate Outer. You can maybe put it in the side deck if you have like 3 FENRIR, but that's it. Next up is the train package. I played 3 Heavy Freight Train Derek Raid. People play this at 1 because it's very easy searchable, but I like to have this card in your hand as extenders or maybe special summon bodies. I think that this card is better played at 1, but because I play my decks and I'm noob, I still like it at 3. I really like these cards. Rank 10 Trains is my favorite. His effect is that if you summon a machine monster, you can activate this card in hand to special summon itself. His attacks and defense gets halved, of course. because it has to be balanced. And if this card is detached from an Xyz monster, you can pop a card on foot. That's this card protects your Earth Barrier statue, and I will show you all how later, or tell you, because we're going into the extra soon. The next 3 cards is Super Express Bullet Train. This card is actually crazy. The end phase effect is like, damn son. You can special summon this card if you control at least 1 machine monsters and no other types of monsters. So that's why FENRIR and the Furnace of cards can be bricks, and the Earth Barrier Satchel too. This card cannot attack unless you tribute 2 monsters. That's pretty darn annoying, but it is what it is. And if this card is in the graveyard, is sent there this turn, you can in the end phase target a machine monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Earth machine monster. So you can recurse a lot of your single cards that you have, like maybe the gadgets. I used it at one time. I mostly use it on the that special summon from graveyard cards. The Pegasus, the flying, yeah, the Pegasus. That's most what I've used it for, or maybe, I don't know. I have no idea what you actually want to. Well, you can also do one of the extra deck monsters if you really need it back. Then for the hand traps, I played 2 Ash Blossoms and Joy Spring. It's just the best hand trap you can play. I only play 2 because I never want to see more than 2, and 1 is just enough. Why I play these cards as extra cards to make my deck list way longer and way not helpful. I just don't want to play non-hand traps. I just wanted to try them, and because of the draw with the Thawing Mountains, drawing this card is so amazing. And it's still a monster, so you can still discard your with Furnace Hills. Next up is Ghost Bell, the last hand trap that I just run in main deck. Ghost Bell and on the bench is still a good card. It's an earth monster. It can be special summoned if you really need it. It's also a tuner, so if you really want to make some interesting plays, you can. Maybe there are some synchro monsters that you can play. That's pretty strong, pretty cool. Nothing much to say. It's still a decent hand. Then for the only spells that I play, it's like 4 spells. It's 2 MACHINA Redeployment. I only have 2. This card says discard another card. If you discarded a monster, you can search 2 MACHINA cards. And if you just discarded a card, you can just search 2 MACHINA monsters. This card can only be summoned once per turn. So this card can search like Citadel, RUINFORCE. It can search the starter, or it can search your how is it called again? This one, the Fortress. So this card is actually crazy. I think at 3 is amazing, because if you draw this card is like the FTK. If you draw this card, you can FTK. If you don't see it, you cannot FTK. It's simple as that. Next up is 1 urgent schedule. I actually wanted to put 2 more urgent schedules in. Never saw the card. If your opponent controls more monsters, you can activate this card special summon 2 Earth Machine monsters, 1 4 and lower as level, and the other 5 or higher. You can only activate or attack with machine monsters the turn you activate this effect. That's like the activation effect. It's not bad, but it's like it doesn't do much at the moment in this deck. It's just like more folder or opponent negation. And if the set cards is destroyed on the field, you can add a rank 10 train to from your deck to end. So it's like something. I think you can cut this card, just like Vera. Next up for the last spell card is Call by the Grave. Draw and Lockboard hurts you, Ash hurts you, Ghost Bow hurts you, every hand trap that exists hurts you. Nibiru can hurt you if you don't see the Bear Statue soon, and that's actually it. So Call by the Grave is a good card. Last 2 cards are just more hand trap cards as Infinite Impermanence. This card can still be set. It's a negation. In your if you draw them going second, you can still activate this card. The branded player normal summoned or special summoned branded Aluber of Despiat, and I just impermanent, and he activated branded loss. I was like, no, did he actually draw both? And he didn't. So I was like, yes. But this is my main deck. Sorry for that it takes long. It's just a very big list, and let's go into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, I played one Zeus. This extra deck is pretty tight, so one Zeus is all you can have, is all you can offer. This card just clears all feud. It's a strong card. Keep in mind, if you are Earth Machine locked, this card is not so. I play one Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Liebe. Ich liebe dich, ja. This card is the OTK potential. You can detach a card from this card. It gains plus 2000, plus 2000. This is the only card that then can attack. Do I forget something? And this card can attack your opponent's monsters equal to the numbers of material it has. So, strong card. OTK potential. Next up is the best card in the game, because this card, it requires 10 rank 10 machine monsters, and then it has a quick effect: detach a card, target a card on the field. That card is unaffected by card effects. So that's pretty strong, pretty cool. So you can protect your berry statue, and then if you detach the train card, you can pop the normal summoned monster if they want to in the battle phase attack over your berry statue. So that is a very, very strong card. Very cool. I forgot to mention that you can summon this card on any rank 10 Xyz train. So that's right, so good. Next up is the OTK potential of the FTK. It's Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon. I played 2 of those. Detach a card, do 2000 damage, and you just cycle through these 2. Then you activate INFINITRACK, the Shuffler, that's a Tunneler. Then you can shuffle these back, and then you can OTK again your opponent with more cards. That's the combo. Next up for the INFINITRACK card is INFINITRACK Earth Slicer. This card is this card is actually very scary, but your opponent gets rid of it very, very easily. So yeah. This card does a lot. You can read it on the right of you. It's just too much to read at the moment, and my throat is getting hurt, and the deck is getting a lot. But it's just detach all cards it has, and then send that card to the graveyard. Those cards to the graveyard. It's crazy. And I'm just gonna explain it. Tribute summon a INFINITRACK monster. Special summon this card in defense. Next up for the INFINITRACK card is INFINITRACK. This card is so crazy. It's Revel Stormer. 2 level 5 INFINITRACK cards. Detach, search any Earth Machine monster. Crazy, I know. And then it has the same as Slicer, Tribute, Special. A very strong monster that I never got to summon is Phantom Fortress. I think, what's it called again? Enter Blateneer. I don't know, so my apologies. I can't read. It takes 2 level 9. That is pretty doable in this deck because you have that I have not explained because I'm a bad decklist channel, I guess. This one that you can target 1 machine monster on the field, and the level of those. This one and the other monster becomes the levels that are combined. So for instance, if you have these 2 target, they become both 9, so you can make this one. That's how the combo goes. And this card says that you can detach the card, then you can banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard, from the top of their deck, from their hand, or where more? Your opponent, or the card they control on the field. So it's just a free banish. So it's not bad. But most of the times you get locked into Earths, and then it's not summonable. But it's still something going first, breaking, and maybe not seeing other. Next up is Giant X. 2 level 4 monsters, detach certain 4 lower Earth Machine monster. So you can search a lot with this card. I normally search the Pegasus to activate Pegasus effect on the summon. That's most time I use it for. And the last card that won me the game, it's Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. Detach, target a monster you control. It gains the ability, a machine monster of course. It gains the ability to attack directly. That's it. It's a crazy card. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect or by battle, and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 level 4 lower machine type monster from your deck to your hands. So this card, it's so cool. So for the link card, I played 1 also the Earth Charmer, for 1 the ability lock, 2 to get out of some cards. So if you are not locked in Earth machines, this card is very great. Then for the link monsters is for other link monsters, Ancient Gear Ballista, on summon search, box, search, trencher. That's it, just for more bodies, and you can send it to the graveyard for other cards. I played 2 INFINITRACK Goliaths. This card is pretty crazy. It only takes 1 INFINITRACK card except a link monster. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can attach this card to an Exist monster. And if it's attached, that Exist monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that's crazy. This card is very, very strong to be attached. And no, we are not playing as a KASHTIRA. And the only card that makes this deck able to OTK for FTK is Dumble-Headed Angler Mapper. This card takes 2 machine monsters to summon, and then you can activate 1 of 2 effects. Summon 1 monster, or tribute a monster from your hand or field to summon a Earth machine monster from your graveyard that is level 10. So this just summons a free 10 monster. And if this card is in the graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster from the field to special summon this card. Only 1 card can be activated this turn. So strong. This was the side deck for the extra deck. So let's get into the side deck immediately. I played 3 lava golems. You don't need your normal summon, so just special summon this card going second. Gets rid of a lot of monsters that your opponent controls, especially if they are furry. The MVP of this MVP is the furry player couldn't out this card. I drew it twice. It's like, oh my god, that's actually good. This it's a good card. When your opponent's normal special summon a monster, you summon this card to their field. And if they want to Exist summon, Link summon, or any other summons, they have to use this card. Or else they cannot. I played 2 Chaos Center against Runics. If you have this card, they cannot activate any runic effect, so it's still GG because he cannot panic. Hand traps, draw and lockbird. We are playing in a meta where draw and lockbird is very, very strong, so there is just not a reason not to play it. It's like, that's actually a good card. The other summon monster that we can summon is Spell Canceller. I sided it against the Spy player on round 2. I did see it in my opening hand, but I could go for the OTK, so why did you not go for the OTK, right? And just win the game right there. But it's like, this card is an automatic win against a lot of decks. Spell Canceller, it says that neither player can activate spell cards or the ones on the field are just negated. So very strong card. And then last but not least, the 2 cards are Lightning Storm. If you know you go second, it's just something you can activate to just destroy or the spell trap cards, because Labyrinth is still a deck, or you can destroy monsters if they have them. And of course, Harpy said it is too. It's a strong card, just destroy your opponent's back row. And it's the gold rare version, so it's the best rarity that you can have. That's why I will never side it in. But this was the deck. I went undefeated. I am very happy. This was my first. This is my first time in like a longest time. It's just actually my first time going first. That's it. It's still so mind-boggling to me that I just can't fathom that I just won something. I'm the kind of player that just lost. I just always lose, right? So, well, not always, because you see it in my deck both. So even though I lose, it's still something that's like still unfathomable that I can win with my own made deck, my own made creation that I just made today. Actually, I built it today. That's crazy. It feels very, very, very unreal to just being able to win with something you made instead of net decking with it. But thank you all for watching. It's like 30 minutes. My apologies. I'm just very excited, very happy. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully I see you play it too, because it's a lot of fun. Bye.